So by now, we've probably all got a list of all the big changes we want to see made to Modern Warfare 2. Well, this isn't about those. Today, I wanted to break down some of the smaller changes and fixes that could be made to Modern Warfare 2 before launch. So let's get right into it, in no particular order. Number 1, over-the-shoulder ADS with the third-person camera. The third-person mode is a pretty cool little gimmick in MW2, but it feels a little shallow in my opinion, since you're only in third person until you ADS. Unlike other titles like Halo, it's basically essential to ADS in Call of Duty, with hip firing only really being used when you're up close and personal or caught by surprise. So if you're only in third person until the shooting really starts, then does it really count as a third person mode? One of the reasons the original third person mode from the OG MW2 was so fun was that it completely changed your perspective, so the game played differently. And you don't really get that feeling right now with the first person switch. They should make it an option and have some playlists with the full third person and some with the hybrid option. You'd stay in third person unless you're using a scope or something like that needs to be used in first person. It's a little strange how, right now, it basically lets you play the game like normal, but while getting to see more of your operator, especially since what should be kind of a funny haha gag kind of a game mode is being advertised as such a big feature, even being squished between MW2 and Warzone here in the announcement trailer. Maybe this is all a little deliberate to sell skins? Either way, I'd like to see a traditional third-person camera, with shoulder swapping too, by the way. Melee should stun. Back in the day, we had the one-hit knife. This was an effective means to quickly dispatch an enemy when you're out of ammo or when they just pop up in your face. But also a bit overpowered, since as long as you were in range, you were almost guaranteed a kill. Okay, fast forward to MW 2019, at least the first title I saw it in, and we had a two-hit melee with your gun. Gone were the days of instantly knifing someone, but to balance it out, your melee would briefly stun your opponent. Not for too long. If you weren't fast enough, they'd still get the drop on you, but long enough that if someone popped up in your face and you reacted fast enough, you could save your life and get a quick kill. But since then, there hasn't been a stun when you melee. Nearly every time I find myself in a melee-worthy situation, I'm killed by my opponent because you can't get those two hits in fast enough before they can just spray you with an M4. Basically rendering melee useless just about every time I've used it. Unless I get the drop on them, which isn't really what melee is used for in this game. I'm thinking this was done to prevent blunt melee weapons from being overpowered, but if someone is choosing to give up using a ranged weapon to do something a little trolly, that shouldn't really dictate a core tool in your arsenal, because right now melees are effectively useless, and no one is ever going to use the faster melee muzzle attachment, so don't even type it. Unless the melee is one hit, which I don't really want that either, melee should do a brief stun. So if you successfully hit an enemy and get that other hit in time, you can save yourself and get a kill. And a brief stun, that's it. It doesn't even have to be a stun, just interrupting their current action. Enough so that they can't just keep holding down RT and mow you down in that brief time frame. Trust me, once it happens to you, even with advantage, like hitting them first, and you still die, it's going to piss you off. This next one is also an annoying one. Not being able to revive a teammate because you keep picking up their weapon. If you played any of the revive game modes, you know what I'm talking about. You run up to a dead teammate, trying to make a clutch revive in the nick of time, and you accidentally pick up their gun. Then you pick up your gun by accident. You move around a bit and then pick up their gun again. And now you've been shot and you've lost the round. This is annoying to no end, and a little funny, I won't lie, when you spectate your teammates fumbling around trying to figure out how to revive you. But there needs to be some sort of priority given to reviving, or make it so that we don't drop our weapons until we've used all of our revives and we're permanently dead. Because I think right now if someone picks up your gun, it also essentially duplicates your gun too if you get revived, because then you'll have your gun and so will they, and I don't think that's how that was intended. I mean, they could just launch the gun like 3 feet away from your body or something, so that people can still, pick up weapons, but they don't pick up your weapon when they're trying to revive you. That way, if someone's out of ammo, they still have weapons to grab, but they can actually revive people. Because right now, it's almost impossible to revive a teammate. Number 4, domination matches are too long. I don't know exactly what is causing this problem, but most domination matches last too long in MW2. I'll be over 10 minutes into a game, and I've timed it, feeling like I've been back and forth ready to head into the next match and even a new map, when I look and see we are barely halfway through a game. Like, they aren't just too long, they're almost exactly double in length. Maybe it's just a psychological thing, because some do seem to be around that 10-minute average length for a Call of Duty match, but some definitely aren't, or at least don't feel like it. I have noticed sometimes the ending music that kind of plays as a match is supposed to be wrapping up can begin to play a little bit too early, which is why I said maybe it's just a psychological thing, but they do actually feel dragged out at times too, like by the end of over half of my Domination matches, especially on the first day or two of the beta. I felt like I was done with this match and wanted to play on a new map or just take that, 5-second break between games, and yet I still have more of a match to play. Maybe this has something to do with how players were acting on the first few days of the beta, but I don't think player behavior would contribute to matches literally being double in length. Again, maybe this is just a me problem and no one else is really feeling this way, but I hope they look at the score we get per second or whatnot while holding the flag, the total score of the match itself, or whatever else they need to do, because at this point it makes me want to avoid Domination. Like, they're not just too long, they feel like they are dragging on, and it's annoying. It's quite literally fatiguing to play this game mode. When I've been running around, capping points, and I feel like this game should be done, and I look up, and again, it's not even halfway through at this point. And I basically have a whole nother Domination match to play through. It's just tiring, to say the least. Lastly, things need to be explained better. This is part of a bigger problem I'm potentially going to make another video for, but they really just threw us in here without much of an explanation of how some of these systems worked. They showed Gunsmith 2.0, but really they just showed it off and didn't give much explanation to how this system actually functioned. You literally have to read a separate blog post to know that scopes and other attachments are unlocked across all weapons, no matter what. And they didn't even mention that we have 4 perks that we unlock mid-game. That's something we saw on live streams. Or that a bunch of attachments actually aren't compatible across all weapons in the same platform. Never mind features like weapon tuning or the firing range, which we still have yet to actually see at the time of writing this video. My biggest problem with this is they kind of left it up to the big YouTubers and breakdown channels to explain everything, like how I mentioned we saw the perk system on the COD Next live streams from people playing the game. But even they don't know everything that's happening because they're not the actual developers. And it's definitely not streamlined information. So you get bits and pieces from each person, but never quite get the full picture. Not to mention things like the changes to the menus. Like, I wouldn't have even known about the home button, which gets you to all your game modes and weapons and all that stuff, if I hadn't happened to see someone mention it in passing in a video. Like, hey, if you're confused, use the home button to blah blah blah, it took me a while to find this. Like, that shouldn't be how players interact with your game. They shouldn't be guessing at how to use basic things like menus, let alone core elements like create a class. So please just release some videos or something at launch going over everything from the source. Because at this point I got the basics, but there is still some misinformation on the values of certain things or how long certain things take and etc. etc. And new players shouldn't have to guess at how things work within your game. And a little bit of a bonus one here, but let me change and edit my class between rounds. My god. This has annoyed me since Modern Warfare 2019. For some reason, while in between rounds on game modes like Search or Demolition, you have to wait until after the new round is counting down before you can switch classes. Why can't I do it during the 5 to 10 seconds during the kill cam and the game showing us the score where nothing is happening, rather than the 10 or really more like 5 seconds if you're on old consoles right before the game actually starts? Maybe it's a loading issue, but at least let me do it during the kill cam, because it pains me that I have to watch a kill cam and then a still screen when I could be switching to my defense loadout or trying to edit an attachment on my weapon. Now I only have 5 seconds to get it done before I start eating into actual playtime. This is literally a super small one, but I think that's what makes it so annoying, because when it happens, you're just like, why? So please, let me change my class in between rounds. What changes do you think Modern Warfare 2 needs before launch? Have you had issues with any of these loadouts? If you liked the video, leave a like on it, or consider subscribing for more Call of Duty content. My name's Parker Fox, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.